You run an e-commerce store that sells in Australia or in the process of setting one up, but you want to know where exactly to advertise. Should you be running Google Ads? Should you be doing email marketing? Should you be posting on Instagram? Keep watching this video and you're going to find out exactly what you need to do. Okay, so when it comes to advertising an e-commerce store in Australia, you've really got 6 main ways of doing it. There are lots of other little ways to do it, but if you're just starting out or you're wanting to grow, these are the best ones to focus on. The trick is finding the right combination of them. It's not the same for every store. So let's start off. Number 1 is Google Ads. So what Google Ads are is when you search for something in Google, you'll see up to 4 adverts appear at the top. They're not particularly obvious. There's normally a little ad sign next to it, but they change so often. There's a screenshot here of what some of those adverts look like for dog collars. In this case, you've got Google Shopping that sort of like shows up. But basically, all you need to know is that when somebody clicks on those, you as an advertiser is charged every time somebody clicks. And where you appear is based on how much you bid and how relevant it is to what somebody's searching for. Lots of people think that they don't click on those adverts, but trust me, loads and loads of people do. It's that simple. Google Ads work really, really well if somebody's searching for the products that you've got. For example, if you sell dog collars, people search for dog collars. So you can run an advert every time somebody searches for dog collars, your ad comes up, they click through and go through to your website. You're attracting somebody that's highly likely to buy from you. Second way of advertising your e-commerce store in Australia is Facebook and Instagram. I say the two because they're both controlled by the same advertising program. Facebook and Instagram ads. We all know what Facebook and Instagram is, unless we've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, 10 years maybe. But the adverts actually appear in lots of different places on Facebook and Instagram. There's a couple of examples here that show up in the Facebook feed or in your Instagram feed or within stories. They work really, really well too because they're very good at sort of like influencing people. These, depending on how your account's set up, but certainly when you start, they're actually charged on how many times that they're shown. So again, there's a cost associated to it, but they do work pretty well. Facebook and Instagram ads work incredibly well. Lots of people think that they don't actually click on them, but they really, really do. And it's how Facebook is making all the money that it is making. The brilliant thing about Facebook and Instagram advertising is that if people aren't searching for what you're selling, let's take an example with dogs. Let's say we're selling dog treadmills. Trust me, there's very few people searching for dog treadmills in Australia. However, what you can do with Facebook and Instagram is target people that are interested in dogs or any dog related activity. Your advert then shows up. So they then see a dog treadmill and think, oh, actually, that's quite a good idea. That saves me from actually going outside and having to walk my dog in the winter, for example. I really hope that's not the case sort of in Australia, but I just use that to illustrate. The fourth way to advertise your e-commerce business in Australia is email marketing. Email marketing, what is it? It's not just spam. It's basically when you use a bit of software to email everybody that you've got the email addresses for. For example, people that have bought from you. So everybody that's bought a dog collar from you, you can email out and say, you bought a blue dog collar, there's now red dog collars. Most people really think it's spam, but honestly, it works so well. It amazes me every single time. The only challenge with doing something like email marketing is that you have to build up quite a list of emails. So if you've got 10 or 50 emails, it's probably not going to work that well because you might get a click-through rate an open rate of about 20% of people that send the email to. So if you send 100 emails, you get 20 people that open it, you might get 5% of those click through. So you can kind of do the numbers. You need to build it up. It's very good for repeat customers. Honestly, try it. Lots of people think that email marketing is spam and it's unrelated. I guarantee you, if you do email marketing and you have a product that continually sells, as in there's repeat purchases, let's say for example dog food, you're going to need to keep buying dog food each month. Email marketing works so well because you might attract a customer with Google Ads, Facebook ads or Instagram ads. They buy from you, you collect their email address, you can then email them and say, hey, it's been a month since you've bought that dog food from us, probably time to get some more food for Rover or whatever your dog's called. Again, works really well. It always amazes me. The fifth way of advertising your e-commerce business is through SEO, kind of content marketing. The two are very similar. SEO and content marketing. In your research of how to promote your e-commerce business, I'm sure you see the term SEO come up loads. It essentially means search engine optimization, and it's basically making your website rank highly in Google. There's so much that can be part of it. It does work very, very well, but it's quite difficult and it can be quite technical and quite time consuming. But the return that you get is amazing because you're not paying every time somebody clicks. You're just investing time in making content and optimizing your site. However, it does take quite a long time to get results, so you have to be super patient when doing it. I also say SEO and content marketing because essentially the two are joined together, because if you have really, really good content, you tend to do quite well within SEO as long as you sort out some of the technical things. Can't really go into it in detail here because we don't have time, but it's well worth researching. The biggest mistake most people make when they're starting out online or they're trying to scale is that they focus on SEO. They do this because they think that's really the only way to do it, and it's attractive because essentially it's free. You're not paying every time somebody clicks. However, if you want to find out what works, it's better to start with something like Google Ads. SEO and content marketing comes in really well when you work out what works. So let's say we've discovered that the keyword in Google Ads of blue dog collars sells really, really well. We want to start ranking in SEO or organically on Google for the term blue dog collars. So therefore, we then have to focus on producing content that gives people the best information about that particular sort of like subject. Also, I say SEO and content marketing because the two are very closely related, because essentially you have to have content about the thing that you want to appear in Google for. The final way of advertising your e-commerce business is affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, what is that? Affiliate marketing is basically like having online commission-only salespeople. What happens is they write about a product or they promote your product in some way, shape or form. People click through from their website to your website, and if they purchase, you give them a percentage of the sale. So you don't have to pay them $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, what it is. You need to pay a percentage of the sale. It works really, really well, but it's certainly not for everybody. Affiliate marketing is often one of the things that I'll try later on when I'm setting up an e-commerce store or working with somebody on growing their e-commerce store. It works very, very well though in competitive markets. So if there's lots of choice. I can't really think of a good example within dogs, the dog sort of like industry that's incredibly competitive, although I'm sure there are some, and you can probably tell me from watching this video. But at the moment, I'm buying a new laptop. I'm looking for a PC laptop, and it's quite confusing because there's so many different varieties that you can get, all the different specifications. So I need a 15-inch laptop that's light, so I look for best 15-inch laptop light, and then all of a sudden you start getting the reviews coming up, and as soon as somebody clicks through, you then buy it. That's why it works well, because somebody's guiding you when something's very competitive. So if you're not in a very competitive market, potentially not great for you. I'm not saying don't try it, but just know that the option is there. There is a difference when it comes to running an e-commerce business in Australia compared to the US or the UK. Although I've got an English accent, I moved to Australia in 2011, and since then I've seen massive differences between the two. There's also big differences within the US, and I appreciate there's lots of video and coverage that explains the way that you can advertise, and I'm sure this isn't the first video that you've looked at or watched to get some information. I'll give you a couple of examples of how it is different and how we need to approach things slightly differently. For example, in the US, about 88% of people use Google to search for any given product. This basically means that there's actually a bit of market share that goes away to other search engines. Bing is Microsoft's version. They've got 6.5% of the market share in the US. Now, 6.5% of the US population is quite large. If we come home and we look at Australia, about 95% of people use Google to search. Therefore, it's a much more dominant market. Also, Bing only has about 3% of the market share, and 3% of the Australian population, which is roughly about 26 million, isn't that many people. Therefore, we have to take a slightly different approach to how we advertise our e-commerce businesses here in Australia. Okay, we've covered quite a lot in this fairly short video. You've probably got a lot more questions and specifics that you want help with. Leave your questions in the comments below and I will personally respond to each one of them to try and help you out, and also it will help other people out who are reading them. Also, if you want to find out when more of these videos are released and we share more information about running your e-commerce business in Australia, hit the subscribe button here and you will find out exactly when we're releasing new videos. Thanks for watching.